My name is Will. Thank you for coming to my class. I have two classes that's gonna be around the same subject, and that's just standing up as a form of leg lock defense. I'm gonna use two positions in each of the class, or like one in each of the class, so two positions total. So now it's going to be single leg X or outside ashi, and then the second class will be from 50-50. The general idea will be the same. It's just I'm using those positions to go over the concept and the things that I want to teach. But if you know more, if you have more leg lock experience, you can do other positions. You can start deeper. You can play for more reactions, because what happens when we start to stand up is other things open up. It's not that we're always going to escape with just standing up. If we can do that, that's great. But when our opponent on the bottom starts reacting to the stand-up, other things open up. So the less you know and the less you're comfortable with it, you have to tell your partner that and try to minimize the option. So your goal will just be to stand up, maybe follow my steps exactly. If you know more, you can tell your partner that to give more resistance, more off balances, and so forth. The main concept of what we're going to be doing is elevating the hip, because when we're in leg entanglements and our hip is on the ground, it limits our movement. It's not that we can't escape. We can counter with back takes, we can just pummel, and some people prefer that. If you want to stay on top, if that's your game, elevating the hip off the ground will be the best option. Or at least it's the best option for me. So the main idea will always be I'm trying to put weight on the leg that's being attacked. So if this leg is being attacked, I put tension through it, either by doing something of a karate foot that my friend Raul teaches, or straight with the ballerina toes. And you will have to switch between those until you can start putting weight on it on the ground. First we build up to a knee, and then we build up here. And you notice I'm using my hands, so this will be the most textbook way to stand. We're only going here momentarily when we start to disentangle the legs, but I mostly spend my time when I'm standing in the entanglements a little bit forward, and I might put more weight here, more weight here. You're just gonna have to kind of figure it out. Can I have someone who's comfortable being on the bottom? Yes. So you can either start from a regular single leg X, where his leg is underneath my opposite butt cheek. This is on the hip. Or you can start, or you can start here. It's up to you. The only difference is that now there's no frame. So if you have trouble standing up here, if this leg is giving you too much trouble, you're trying to stand up and the frame is just too much, just go from here, because this allows me to come much closer to him. I can get good connections, and that's gonna help me put weight on the leg. But otherwise they're gonna be pretty much the same. So I put weight on the leg. I try to push it in. If he's completely faced that way, it's gonna be hard, because I'm trying to kind of go the opposite way. So grab the leg, anything, put weight, start building up to knee. Grip fight, again, I'm trying to give more just of an overview, and you're gonna have to kind of figure out what state is gonna work best for you. We build up to a knee, and stand up. That's just the first exercise. If this is completely new, just go very slow, figure out the base. if there's something that you're used to, just ask for more resistance. So he can move me, he can put weight on the hip. If you're very advanced and I start standing up, he's more than welcome to open up the legs and start dealing with, like, I will get to this. It's just, if you're comfortable with it, you can go there right away. So, start here, put weight on the ankles, so don't start to stand up if you feel like there's a threat. I lean forward, so this one is light. My hand can either be gripping him, or I can just frame, and I stand up, and I just stop here. Any questions? Okay, go. So, a few things. Make sure that the knee that's being attacked, that the one you're putting weight in, that it's coming with you. And what I mean is that your knee is facing relatively the same direction that you're going. He's trying to put my knee this way. And if I start to come up and force it too much, we're going the opposite ways. So this is where the hand fighting comes in. I'm not just trying to escape this way. I can try to go underneath his tricep and start to pull and build base this way, because now I have counter tension. I can try to go for the back of the neck and pull him that way. Just make sure that there's weight in the leg, and you, as much as possible, bring your knee to you. There's always going to be some resistance. It's going to be hard, especially if he has started to put leg weight. If he's knowledgeable about leg lock, this will be a harder battle for sure. This knee here, if the leg is completely here, it might come a little bit down to hip mobility. Because when I start to build up on the knee, if you can't really get your leg underneath you, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So make sure before you start to put too much weight this way, that you're bringing this leg towards you. If it's left out here and you start to put weight, at least for me, this is awkward. Maybe you're able just to go and shoot it fast, that's fine. If it works for you, but for me personally, I want to bring this leg, like the heel towards my butt before I start to elevate. And up. So make sure that you direct your knee as much as possible to the side that you're coming up, and try to make your secondary leg put it into the best position possible to actually build base upon it. Yes. All right? Okay. A few more minutes. My last notes about this part is there are two ways you can kind of start to position those leg that's attacking. It can either be straight, so I'm here, I'm pulling, and I'm doing like what I mentioned, like the karate leg, so it's long, and then I'm building face up this way. If maybe the grip is so he has like his wrist underneath my leg. If you just go over, no, so yeah, just hold here. So he doesn't, maybe he's not underneath the leg, for example, which means I can bring the heel, maybe switch the legs. Here you can see. So I can bring the heel this way. So now it's kind of more of a 90 degrees. This is fine. This is fine as well. It doesn't need to be straight. It just needs to be heavy on the ground. And there were some people in the gi as well. and this is like having the bent leg, and the gi grip is really strong. The no gi version would kind of just be grabbing the back of the head, back of the elbow, kind of like grip, body. But this is fine as well. It's just hold the real bit. So, when we're up and he has it outside, it's a little bit of a difference how we disentangle the legs. If you're still having like, not maybe problems, but if you want to spend more time on just standing up, you just do that. If you want to focus on disentangling the legs, you're free to do so as well. When they're both on the outside, it's usually best to reach for both of them in kind of a scoop grip and bring them in front of you. Here I have two grips where I put weight, and now I can start to either, if it's slippery, I can distract it straight away, or I kind of have to disentangle in this way and step. This is, if you know, like more of the Gordon Ryan way, where it's very methodical, it's very step by step. He has good grips, he breaks, and then you can kind of get out of it while I'm still standing. So if you're unsure of where to go, what's like, because he's gonna be moving me, there are other ways. I'm gonna maybe go back to the knee. I go, he reaps this leg, I have to move. So while we're standing up, while we're disentangling, a lot of things can happen. If you're comfortable with that, explore it. If not, just focus on this one here. And now you can kind of just figure out how can I either just pull the leg out or disentangle in this way and step or run away. It's just dealing with the grips, because as soon as we stand up here and I maybe disentangle them, he might reap, he might shoot for, if you go to X guard. Now I'm gonna have to deal with this. It's the same. I'm blocking the hooks, I'm fighting, I'm stepping. So it's a balance game. Yeah, let's just stick with this. So he's locking the legs on the outside. I'm able to stand up. His hip is good and heavy, so there's weight here. I scoop underneath both and bring them in front of me, C grip, and then I start to push the legs, disentangle them, or try to pull it out. This is one that's a little bit easier when there's sweat, but you can still do it if you just fucking rip it. Any questions? Okay, try it. Okay, the last thing I'm just gonna go over is breaking or disentangling when it's like a regular single leg X. When we disentangle it, and usually when you're dealing with leg lock entanglements, C grips are usually the one that we're going for. So I grab the toes. This is like very, again, Track Jones, Gordon Ryan, this is what they always show. It's to the toes, push it off to the side. This one is going for the same side ankle and pushing down. And now it's very similar to the position that we were in, except now they're kind of a little bit more behind me. Before, they were just like over here. So it's kind of the same though. I can either just step over and pull the leg out. I can step close and extract it, or I can kind of go into a back step. Very similar, just a little bit different on how we start. And then when he starts to like change into other forms of guard. It's still the same when I'm switching. I'm C gripping down, and I'm always trying to break his connections to me and protecting the secondary leg. When he's able to either connect to the free leg, or if you go back to the original guard, or if I step too close and he can use his hand to grab mine, or just over here. This is bad, yeah, because I lose my balance right away. And we also had a good question just to mention it. When I'm starting to come up, and it can either be through a butterfly hook, where it goes here, or he's just able to physically turn his body towards me, so my leg lifts off the floor, and now it's like levitating. No, it's hovering. Yes, I'm gonna have to put weight back on. So that's when the secondary leg starts to pivot to put weight back into it. I clear the hooks. He switches. I have to move and move. So it's a big game of how we deal with it, but it's always kind of the same, where I'm trying to put weight into the leg that he's attacking. I'm kind of C gripping his grip. There are other grips, of course. Yeah, and then I'm using the C grips to take the entanglements and connections off of me, protecting the secondary leg by pivoting, pummeling, whatever. And then when there's no connections, that's the opening to extract, to run away. For those of you who know, like the guys at B team, what they always do, which is like fucking annoying, is that they always just push down everything and just pull it out. It's a very effective way. You don't often even need to take the entanglement away if you have like a good sweat. They're kind of just use the secret and just push, and then they pull it out. So it doesn't need to be complicated. Yeah. Trying not to say too much. Any questions about this? So it's just a little bit different in the way the entanglement is. They end up in a kind of a different place, but it's still the same idea. Is everyone following? Okay, try that. So, yeah, so try it and then we'll come back. All right. When you grab it, you saw that he flexed his leg. It's much harder to do. If you grab the ankle toes, that goes against the ankle. Yeah, so when he starts to flex. Do you have any questions? So there's a reason why I have 2 classes on it. It's because I want you to spend time on this concept. So when the second class rolls around, we can kind of either go back to what we were doing and finish it or make it better, or we can start to add something new. It just depends on how well you do. It's, not to sound too much like a teacher. It's a hard skill to get good at because there are so many variables that can happen, and when I walk around you have questions and it's like no one question was the same, and I had like 30 questions, so it's very easy to get lost in the what ifs.
I have a question.
Yes.
From the few points, the guy holding the leg, what would you do against the stand-up?
I'm not gonna go over that for the class. We can do it like afterwards. So that's also why I put the class at intermediate, just so I can, there's like some things that I can say no to, just to, I don't have to go over it. But it's a good question and we can go over it during the week. But that's the only thing that intermediate means is that I expect a little bit more knowledge about the things just so I can focus on specific points. But that's a good question, but no. So now we're just gonna do reps. So one person is working for 4 minutes. Then we're gonna have 1 minute of feedback. You don't need to work the entire 4 minutes with the reps. If you do 2 minutes and then you talk for the other 2, I don't care. It's your round to work. So it can be completely non-resistant, it can be full resistant. It's all up to you, but we're always gonna have that 1 minute at the end for feedback in case you were just going crazy for the 4 minutes. What's the time? So we might do, so it's 4 minutes each person. We're probably only gonna have time to do it once. So one person works, then feedback, and then the other person works, and then feedback. Everyone following? Okay, and you can choose if you do this position or other leg lock scenarios. Try to keep it so it's either single leg X. Here it's either 50-50, which is here, and then saddle, and then I'm the person working. If you're unsure about these positions, just stick to the one that I went over. All right? Okay, let's go. Thank you, sir.